This is the first time I've tried scheduling a live stream, so I can't tell if I'm live or not, and I can't tell if anybody's here. So if you're here, drop something in the chat. And I guess I'm going to just go on the assumption that somebody's going to show up. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. So welcome. If you're new here, I'm Sally. And I start off every video exactly the same way. And so I'm going to start it this way as well. I'm going to say, hey, gang, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. And so every day for me is amazing and fascinating. Oh, Kate's here. Hi, Kate. Thank you so much. I was wondering whether or not I was doing this right because I've never done it this way before. So I thought I'd spend a little bit of time, and I scheduled this for a Sunday morning because I kind of fade by the late afternoon, but we'll see how that goes. I prefer to do things earlier in the morning, just works better for me all the way around. Here's the Wonder Dog Kit, who has not been out yet, so we may have a brief interruption. Maybe somebody will come by and take him out while we're on live. We'll see what happens there. But I think of this, I like Sunday because if you've looked at my logo for Sally Forth, in the middle it says Seek Adventure. And so I think of my channel members and my audience and you, my viewers, as seekers. So we're here for Sunday morning seekers. Hey, Lisa, welcome. Nice to see you here as well. So so first time we're going to see how this goes. So what do we seek? Well, I seek adventure in all things that I do. And my goal is always to, kind of like have the most amazing day that I can, regardless of what's going on. So I guess let's start with an injury update. And I have to say, I'm pretty tired of being injured at this point. I'm pretty bored. Oh, let's do something about the lighting here. This should be better. You don't have to leave, Kit. You're okay. I'm pretty bored. Kit's pretty bored. We're both used to being out a whole lot more than we are. And I think part of the hardest part of this for me is needing to ask for help. And I think for many of us, that's something that's really, really difficult. I mean, the painful part of it, not so bad. You kind of get used to that. It's not that big a deal. And the pain gets better a little bit day by day by day. But I think really the inconvenience, then the difficulty of having to ask for help is kind of the biggest thing. But making progress every day is a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And I'm excited about going to the doctors this week. And I'll be going to the doctors on Thursday. And my friend Lisa, who's on here right now, is taking me. And that's what we're going to find out, Kate, is how much longer I'm going to have to be in the boot. The ER doc said 6 to 8 weeks. And she said she wanted me seen in about 4 weeks. So Thursday will be 4 weeks. And I'm going to go see a doctor in Yuma that specializes in foot and ankle. And we'll see what he has to say about the boot at that point. What I'm hoping for is that I'll be allowed to start walking in the boot so that, maybe I can get Kit out myself, which I haven't been able to do yet. And because I'm in quartzite and, the desert ground is all rocky and uneven and stuff like that, it's going to be, once I am allowed to start walking, it's going to be a slow go at that point. But I'm cool with that. I mean, little by slowly is fine. My big goal is that I need to leave quartzite by March 25th in order to be able to get to Nevada in time to renew my driver's license before it expires on March 28th. I was thinking I had until the end of the month, and I happened to look at my driver's license yesterday and say, oh, no. I have to renew before my birthday, which is the 28th. So I need to be in Nevada to be able to do that. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to drive by then. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to drive within the next week or so, maybe not for long distances because I still have to wear the boot all the time. And when my foot hangs down in the boot, as it would when I'm driving, it doesn't take a whole long time before it starts to go numb just because of you know, the weight of the boot, I think is really what's causing it at this point. But as I said, little by slowly. So, that's kind of where we are. And I'm looking forward to being done with the boot. I'm looking forward to being able to go for long walks in the desert again. That'll be nice. That'll be super nice, actually. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, that's basically what's going on with the foot itself. But I think, I think some of the lessons here are important as well. And part of that is, taking advantage of the opportunity to be able to ask for help. I mean, if this had happened pretty much anywhere else in the country, I might have been in a world of hurt. Would I have figured it out? Yeah, I probably would have figured it out, but it would have been more difficult. And so I'm glad I didn't have to figure that out. Hi, Judy. Thanks for being here. You don't have to wake up. You can sleep through this. And in fact, maybe I'll just bore you back to sleep. You never know. You never know exactly how that'll go. So I am incredibly grateful for all the help that I've had. I'm really grateful to be around my friends and not be completely alone. And I had spent, we're going to talk about this summer's travel plans, but starting in July of last year, I started my Geographical Extremes tour, which I'm not going to finish until late spring or late spring of this year, I think, because I still have one more corner to do up in Northwest Washington. So I hit all four corners of the contiguous United States. And I went from the middle of Lebanon, Kansas, middle of the United States in Lebanon, Kansas, all the way up to northeastern Maine. And those videos are just coming out right now. And then I'll be working my way all the way down the East Coast to Key West before I started heading back west again to get to Quartzsite. And my plan had been that I was going to spend most of the winter camping along the Gulf Coast of Texas. And within 4 nights of being at my first beach location, which was awesome, the bad weather started moving in. And so I gave up and started moving west relatively quickly in between all of the cold pockets. It's not coffee talk. It's actually iced tea talk at this point. I've already had 2 cups of coffee. And the wind and the dust blowing around has been so bad that I feel like I've got a constantly scratchy throat now. And today's going to be no exception, apparently. So that's what's been going on. And the thing that I find really interesting is part of the reason I started doing travel videos was for myself, because I wanted to be able to document my travels. Well, and I thought that my family might be interested in knowing what was going on. My family never watches anything that I do, which is fine. But what's interesting is my travel videos always get the lowest number of views. They're the ones that I'm most interested in, but apparently none of my viewers are. Everybody that watches really seems to prefer what I call the talking head stuff. The tips and tricks, the how I do stuff, all that kind of thing, which is not my preference. My preference is the travel videos. So I'm curious, for those of you that are on here now, what is it that you prefer? Do you like the travel videos? Do you not like the travel videos? Do you like the talking head stuff better? Let me know what you think. And I think that pretty much wraps up the injury aspect of this. I know what, the last part of this is, I know I'm definitely going to be much more careful. And the next time I open my door and I see a hole outside my step, I'm moving my rig. I would have done it if I'd been by myself. Next time I'll do it regardless, because if I had just moved my rig 2 feet, this never would have happened. Oh well. So what's going on this summer? Well, this summer, I'm going to be traveling with a friend, Barb, whom you've seen in some of my videos, Rob's videos. And we had a lot of the same things in common that we wanted to do this year. So she's put together a basic itinerary, including some of the national parks, national monuments, and stuff that we wanted to see together. And I'm going to fill in some of the blanks with a lot of the quirky stuff that I prefer to do as well. But interestingly, we both like a lot of the history, the geology, the archaeology, all of that kind of stuff. Um, and so I think we're going to have a good time. We got a lot of really cool stuff to see. I'm pretty excited about that. And it's going to cover quite a bit of territory. So I plan to be out of Quartzsite, as I said, no later than March 25th. And the first thing that I have planned starts on, I think, May 22nd in the northwest corner of Maine at Fort Stevens State Park. And I'm going to go meet some friends up there that I've known for years, and I've camped with them a number of times previously, and another couple that they're friends with that I haven't met yet. And we're going to spend a week up in Fort Stevens clamming on the Pacific Ocean. And I've done this before. Now, the downside of this, it's pretty disappointing for me, is that I developed a shellfish allergy about 1.5 years ago. Actually, it'll be almost 2 years, come to think of it, when we went crabbing up in kind of northwestern Maine, not that far north. Maine? Bad. Northwestern Oregon. And we went crabbing, and we'd eaten clams that we had gotten clamming previously that had been frozen. The night before we went, I got sick as a dog. And at first I thought maybe it was food poisoning. Maybe I just got a bad clam. But then the next day I still felt absolutely terrible. And I felt really terrible actually all day long while we were crabbing until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I ate half a crab when we got back that evening, and I wasn't even halfway through my first half a crab, and I was definitely having an allergic reaction. My cheeks turned bright red. I started having trouble breathing really quickly, and fortunately, I always carry an EpiPen. I ended up not having to use it. I drank a whole bunch of water so I could flush it through my system pretty quickly. But yeah, no more shellfish for me again. So that's kind of disappointing. Tried to put my coffee in the kettle and the water in the press. Hope there's not a test. There's never a test, Judy. Yeah, the test is when you start drinking it. And that's just, don't miss your mouth. Don't pour it down your chest. I've been known to do that before, too. But yeah, it's better if you get it in the right order. And it sounds like you really need to get that coffee going this morning. So try and get it together in the right combination, and then you can get a little more awake. So that was my experience with crabbing. And what's going to be interesting is I'm going to have to really pay attention when we go clamming in May as to whether or not I'm going to have a reaction from contact. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that I'll at least be able to clam. Not sure about being able to clean them or not. Not even going to try and eat them, and I won't be bringing any with me this time. So there's that. But it'll be a lovely week on the ocean at the end of May when it'll still be cold and rainy and nasty out. Because it usually is at that time of year there. That's just the way the whole clamming season goes. And these are razor clams that we go after up there. I've done small clams in Japan, and I got rescued by a Japanese woman who was, maybe like 4'5", 4'6". She was really small and very, very old. And she'd been out clamming on this bay for quite some time. And I got there kind of late. I didn't understand about tides and stuff like that. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I'd managed to accumulate about, I don't know, a dozen clams in my net bag. And she came up to me. I didn't speak Japanese. She didn't speak English. And she came up to me and was gesticulating that, I should get out of the water, out of the very shallow water. It was like this deep. But what I realized was that the tide was coming in and the water was actually rising rather rapidly. And she had spent enough time trying to get this communicated to me that it was now becoming an issue for her. And ended up basically rescuing me. So I ended up trying to rescue her. Rob just came out. I think he's going to come get Kit.
Yeah.
There he is. There he is. Hey, I'm live on YouTube. Thank you.
Come on, kid.
Thanks, Rob. So, so Kit's finally getting out this morning. Oh, 9:15. Not bad. I tried to let him out a couple of times and he just, I spent a long time teaching him how not to poo and pee in camp. And so if I just let him out the door, he won't do it. So hopefully he's going to have a nice little walk with Rob. Anyway, so this woman, was rescuing me, and she had a bag of clams that was almost as tall as she was. I mean, it was like, like this big around and heavy. And I was much bigger and much stronger and much younger. I was in my early 20s at this point, and I tried to take the bag from her. I think she thought I was stealing it. I finally was able to convince her that no, I was trying to help her. So we both got back to shore safely. And she was so grateful for me having dragged her bag of clams in for her that she filled up my bag. So we had a party that night with some people in the complex where we lived. So that was pretty fun. So those are my two experiences with clamming so far. And Kate says she likes the how-to and informational videos, also the travel videos, but more interested in west of Kansas. Interesting. Yeah, it's funny. Kate, after having spent all this time in the East, I don't really have any desire to go back, but I did see some really cool stuff. So I'm really glad I did it. And I liked the aspect of the geographical extremes. So going all the way up to northeastern Maine, all the way down to Key West, Florida. I've been to San Ysidro already, so I'm not going to do that again. And then I think it's Blaine, Washington. I have to go hit this summer to hit that fourth corner. And then we got a whole bunch of really cool stuff coming up when Barb and I start traveling after my visit to Oregon. Is this still live? It is still live, Mel. Thank you for being here. So yeah, glad you were able to stop by. And yeah, I'm doing what I always do. I'm kind of rambling, so sharing what's going to be coming up this summer. So now we've gotten out of Oregon, and I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do this because I need to be in Oregon by May 22nd, but I've got all of this time between the end of March and almost the end of May. So basically, a month and a half or more. And I'm kind of thinking I'm going to go do Northwest Washington during that time period, then come back down south to Oregon, because then from Oregon to where I'm going to meet up with Barb, which is going to be probably around Cedar City in Utah. We haven't decided for sure yet, but that's like 1,100 miles. And so I'm currently mapping out how long it's going to take me. Like, what's the fastest time that I can get from Northwest Oregon to Cedar City in Utah? And then I'm going to add a couple of days because I don't want to arrive there exhausted and tired of moving every day. And Barb and I are planning to primarily boondock all summer long. We're not setting an actual schedule. If it takes 3 months or if it takes 5 months, we don't really care. We just want to be out of the north before the snow flies. But we're going to hit, I'm looking at my United States map now. We're going to hit Utah, Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota. I need to go through North Dakota because that's a state I haven't slept in yet. Wyoming and Montana, and I'm going to hit some bits of Idaho as I'm coming across back down into Salt Lake City too. So 5 or so states during that time period, which I think will be very, very cool. And as I said, we're going to hit a lot of national monuments, national parks, and I'm a little bit concerned that we may end up with some restricted hours or park closures because of all the stuff that's going on with the government in Washington right now and all the layoffs and stuff. But we'll see. We'll work it out, whatever it's going to be. And there are so many things that are available to do in this country that are free or almost free. So like in my case, I have a golden access pass, which is the one for disabled people, which I've had since the 90s. And I think it's still true that you don't have to actually be able to prove your disability, but I do have a legitimate disability. I've got a permanent partial injury to my back. And when I got the pass, I said, I don't have a doctor's note or anything to be able to prove this. And they said, you don't have to prove it. You just have to say that you're telling the truth. I'm like, okay, I'm telling the truth. And what's really cool is for many, many years, I would do a lot of motorcycle trips cross country with, 3 to half a dozen of my friends. And with the Golden Access Pass, everybody who's in the vehicle with you or everybody who's with you gets in for free as well. And so, I'd pull up with half a dozen motorcycles and I'd just say to the people at the gate, they're with me. And everybody got in for free, which was also very cool. So I started seeing national parks in the 90s. But it's been always kind of my goal when I'm traveling to see as many as I possibly can. So I really enjoy being able to do that. And then I think for next winter, my plan is to see more of Arizona and parts of California. I'm looking at the map in my mind and I'm thinking Oregon. No, that's not right. Parts of California. Last winter, I spent about a month or so around Borrego Springs, and I have a friend who lives in Borrego Springs in the wintertime, although this winter she's on a world cruise, so yay for her. And I like to be able to visit with her, and it's a lovely area to be able to camp as well, and not terribly inconvenient to get to. I'm not planning on getting an LTVA pass because, if they're going to raise the price to $600, it's not worth it to me. I know it is to some people. It's just not worth it to me. I don't like the LTVAs all that well. I don't really enjoy being there. And I did a calculation, I don't know, 6 months or so ago, where for me, it's actually less expensive to not be in the LTVAs, and even at $180 a year for the amount of time that I spend, and just every 2 weeks go to RV Relief or RV Pit Stop and dump my tanks and get fresh water and, get propane if I need it and do all the stuff. So it's actually less expensive for me to do it that way. And as I said, I don't really love being in the LTVAs. So I'm thinking more like down around Yuma next winter, California, and so forth. Stuff comes up on Facebook with all the sites in Arizona. There's a lot of things to see. Oh, interesting. Like any particular groups, Judy, that you're looking at on Facebook that maybe I should check out? I think there is a lot of stuff in Arizona to see. And I think there's a lot of stuff that's easy to hike to comparatively without having to get carried away, like ruins of stone cabins and stuff like that, which I always enjoy doing. And I think I'll be doing a lot more geocaching next winter than I have been. Ads. Okay. Interesting. So if they're running ads, those are things that you probably have to pay for, right? Which is never high on my list of favorite things. I like to do stuff for free to the greatest extent possible. And then if it's something I really, really want to do that costs money, I don't object too much to having to pay to do stuff. But I like to save paying for the things that are really important to me to pay for. And I mean, here's a great example. I spent all this time in the East, right? And one of the things I really wanted to see was an alligator. And when I did not see a live alligator anywhere the entire time I was in the Southeast this winter, although I think I might have seen a pair of eyes in the grass. Well, pair of eyes in the grass, but the grass was tall enough I couldn't see the whole gator. And I could have paid for a curated experience to be able to see a live alligator, but I chose not to do that. I figured if I couldn't see one on my own, I didn't really need to pay to see one. Try to remember to forward them to them. Oh, most are tour maps. Okay, cool. Yeah, that would be great, Judy. Thank you. And Lisa says she definitely wants to do more geocaching. I didn't know you cached. Cool. Hey, Girl on the Go is in the house. Thank you. Thank you for your travel and experience videos. Well, thank you for saying so, because what I had mentioned was that, people don't seem to enjoy my travel videos nearly as much as my talking head videos, even though I liked my travel videos. I mean, I enjoy the experiences and I enjoy sharing them. And if I ever get back east, I need to stay at least until mid-October. Yeah, I was. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. And he's back. Did you have a good time? Sorry, brief interruption here. Did you have a good time with Rob? Did you do all the things? Were you a good boy? Were you a good boy? He's going home now. It's okay. It's okay. For those of you who aren't here with us in Quartzsite, Rob is parked like 30 feet away from me. And Kit keeps a very close eye on his door. Every time Rob's door opens, Kit wants to go run out and go see Rob. Yeah, so this winter, I was basically in the East from, I'm going to count New York as the East, from August until January. Well, I guess we don't really count Texas as the East. I left Florida at the end of December, beginning of January, I think, before I started heading west. And part of my deal was chasing fall colors all the way south. That was what I was working on. Since right now I need to live vicariously through those of you who are actually on the road. You love my Thank you, Mel. I'm glad you love my travel videos. And Girl on the Go says, I'll be heading back east the end of the month, back to New York to handle some business. Then I'll probably head back west if the world doesn't turn more upside down than it already is. Boy, I hear you. Northeast, yeah. You know, I got to say, so far, one of my favorite places was absolutely Maine. And Girl on the Go, if you don't mind saying, where are you from in New York? Upstate, I assume. Or is it New York City? And if you don't want to be really specific, maybe a county. And I don't know if you guys know, but I actually lived in upstate New York for about 3 years before I moved to California. So I was in New York from 1987 until 1990, and then I moved to California. And I lived in California until I hit the road full-time in 2021, even though I didn't sell my house there until last year. So, yeah, and you know, it's funny, I don't miss having a house at all. In fact, I keep thinking about how much I am relieved that I don't have a house anymore. And, you know, I kept it initially because I wanted a fallback position. I thought maybe I wouldn't like road life. And then when I got to thinking about it, about this time last year, I was thinking, no, I really don't need a house anymore. And if I decide I do need a house, I'll go get another one. I'm not sure I'll ever own another house, despite being a real estate broker. I don't really see the benefit in house ownership for me anymore. I could be wrong. I could change my mind. That's why I always say in my videos, you know, be open to change. You never know what's going to actually end up happening. So once I get through next winter, I think my pace of travel is going to be pretty slow for the next year or so, where I'm going to, you know, just kind of wander around and try and follow the temperature and stay as comfortable as possible all year long. Oh, born in Plattsburgh. 5 generations in the adopted family, at least 7 generations on the biological side. Essex County, yeah. Along Lake Champlain. Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with that area. Very cool. And Mel says, the only reason I plan to keep my sticks and bricks is because I'm too lazy to clean out all the stuff. It's a free storage locker. So, Mel, here's some unsolicited thoughts for you. When I turned my house into an Airbnb when I left town. And so basically I took all of the stuff that I didn't want to be available to my Airbnb guests, and I shoved a lot of it into one of the bedrooms, and I shoved a lot more into the garage, and I just locked those 2 areas up. So they had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, living room, dining room, kitchen, and a big fenced backyard available to them. But then when I went back to put my house on the market last year, I had to go through everything in that extra bedroom and in the garage, and it was a lot. But part of my decision, which was really interesting, and this may work for you, Mel, is that I hadn't had access to any of that stuff in 2 years, and I hadn't needed it. So I really didn't need it now. And as a result, there were only a very few things that I brought with me when I went back and cleaned out the house. One of them is a cookbook from 1941 that had belonged to my mother. And she had gotten it like right after they got married and inscribed it in the 1970s to say that this book belongs to my daughter Sally, but only after I'm dead. Now, the story behind that is my mother was a terrible cook. Absolutely awful. She didn't enjoy it. She wasn't good at it. She never got good at it. And so I would take the cookbook because a lot of the recipes, it had a lot of really great recipes in it. So I would take it after I had moved out of the house when I was 18, and I'd hold on to it periodically. It had all the Christmas cookie recipes and all that kind of stuff. And so every once in a while she'd get it back from me. And then late 70s, she did the inscription when she had it in her possession. I got it back from her again about, I don't know, maybe less than a year after that, and never gave it back to her. I'd had it ever since because she didn't really want to cook ever. And so I still have it. I still do a lot of recipes out of that book. And I think I'll make sure that when I'm doing cooking videos that include those, I'll make sure I mention that. So really fun cookbook. And part of the reason I brought it is that it's got a lot of stuff shoved in it, in addition to handwritten recipes, postcards, and notes. And I mean, it's almost like a piece of family history from all of the stuff that's shoved into that book. So I brought that. I have a MIDI keyboard, which I rarely play. And I also now have a banjoele, which I also rarely play, but I'm getting better at that. So we'll see how that goes. And then I also have, it's called a fake book, which has 1,200 songs in it and includes like piano music and lyrics and guitar chords. So I brought that with me. I'm figuring, eventually, then I'll be able to play stuff, hopefully. If I ever get decent enough at the banjoele, we'll see how that goes. And I was thinking this whole time that I'm working on recovery would be a great time to practice the banjoele, but I haven't been doing that either. So we'll think, that's just the way it is. And those are basically the two things that I brought. I didn't really bring much else with me out of the house. I mean, I had, like, from the Airbnb, I had things like extra paper towels and toilet paper and sponges and stuff like that, most of which I've completely used up now. I think I still have a few sponges. But I brought that kind of stuff, which is, all disposable. But everything else, I was perfectly willing to just let go. In fact, I spent more than 3 days shredding things like old tax returns and stuff like that I couldn't just dump in the trash. And then what I did was I hired an estate sale company to come in and sell absolutely everything in the house. And I personally think that is absolutely the best way to do it. A lot of people do garage sales and stuff like that, yard sales. And often they end up not selling stuff because they feel attached to it and they get offended when somebody offers them too little money for it. Whereas if you're using an estate sale company that comes in, they set up in your house, they'll run a sale for 2 or 3 days, depending on how much stuff you have. And they've got a whole system where usually on the last day, everything is half price because you want it gone, right? And they won't do an estate sale unless they think there's enough money for them to get paid and for you to get something out of it. I did very well in this one. I did even better in the one that I did for the big house that I sold in 2018, because that was a 3,500 square foot house when I still had, like collections of things that were worth money and so on and so forth. So I love estate sales from that perspective. Much easier for the seller, and you don't need to be there. Not only do you not need to be there, you should not be present during an estate sale for your stuff. And then all you do is get paid. It's awesome. And you can even have them donate whatever doesn't sell and throw away stuff that can't be donated. So you don't even have to touch things, which is pretty awesome. And Judy says, I might have an opportunity to manage an RV park. The manager position comes with a 2-bedroom house. I don't want it. My 21-foot RV is my home. I get that. Is that the place that you stay in, Bishop, Judy, or someplace else? Just curious. Yeah, ML says that's so cool. What a great heirloom. It really is. That cookbook, I absolutely love it. Oh, and thank you for the reminder on the thumbs up, Judy. I didn't even think about it. Super appreciate that. Girl on the Go says, that's funny. I used to groom dogs. I had 4 large bags of tails I had to get rid of. There you go. Yes, and Bishop, cool. That'd be great. I don't know. I mean, in the wintertime, Judy, you might want that 2-bedroom house. So maybe you have a summer home and a winter home. Just a thought. Mel says, that's a good hint, hiring the estate sale company. My issue is not wanting to take the time to get rid of everything myself. Not that I have anything worth anything. Well, so here's an interesting thing about that, Mel. And this is what I had to tell my real estate clients that would be doing estate sales before they were moving. It's amazing what an estate sale company can sell. You might have a bottle of spray cleaner, for example, that has, this much left in the bottom of the bottle. People will pay 25 cents for that, or 50 cents. And so the advice is, don't throw anything away yourself. Have the estate sale company come in, look at what you've got, and because they are trained to do this, if you messed up and overlooked something that was like personal items, they'll hold that aside and let you know, you left this behind. Do you want it? What do you want us to do with it? They won't put that out for sale. So like they found a box of stuff in my garage, which as it turns out didn't actually belong to me. It actually belonged to one of my clients who had moved away, and I had collected this box of stuff that they left behind. And as it turned out, I'd had it for like 5 or 6 years at that point, maybe longer. And the client had died. I didn't have contact with anybody else. And I said, at this point, you can throw it away. I don't know what to do with it. So that can happen. And Barb says, so happy. Oh, hi, Barb. No regrets. Thank you for being here. And Judy says, hi, Barb. I'm actually here. LOL. So wait a minute, Judy, are you saying you like the Friday night lives better than early Sunday morning? Is that what I'm hearing? Was this early? Just checking. I mean, I figured I would wait until most people had a cup of coffee, including me, and before I was so hungry that I felt like I needed to be cooking. That's what I was thinking. And I'm kind of thinking about making this like a regular Sunday morning thing. So YouTube will do a thing that y'all probably aren't aware of if you're not making videos, but it will give you best suggested times to either to go live or to publish your videos. And when I looked at the suggestions, YouTube thinks that I should be doing it at like 6 o'clock in the evening. And I'm like, yeah, no. That would be a whole different live stream, because the chances are at 6 o'clock in the evening, I'd be sitting here with a bourbon and water instead of iced tea. And that could, not be a thing. Very early for you, Judy. Yeah, sorry about that. I appreciate you being here, though. And Mel says, I used to do the Howl Live Caravan at 7 a.m. chats on Sunday mornings about this time. Okay, cool. And Lisa says, while I was chatting, she was eating breakfast. Yeah, I can't exactly do that. So when we get off of here, which won't be too terribly long, I will be having some of the turkey sausage I made the other day and some scrambled eggs and cheese. That's what I'm going to be having for breakfast. Because I finished off all of the pizza from Silly Al's last night. So no more pizza. And I think I need to stay away from the pizza for a while now, too. And Judy says, Melanie, I didn't make those either. Yeah, I don't think I'd make them at 7 a.m. either. That would be pretty tough. That's a little bit on the early side. And so for everybody that isn't camped here, just so you know, we are waiting for the next wind apocalypse, which is supposed to start hitting at about 11 o'clock today. And I think we get about another 24 hours of that. We had a red flag warning from 11 a.m. yesterday until 11 p.m. yesterday. And I noticed that the wind started picking up, I think about about 8 or 9 o'clock last night. It's not bad yet, but if the weather predictions hold true, it will be. And Mel says, Judy, I'm on the East Coast, so it's later for me, nearly noon here now. Yeah. Noon is good, Judy says. It's funny because Rob gets up early too, and I can always tell whether or not he's up because I can roll over, look out my bedroom window, and see if he's got lights on. He didn't have lights on when I got up this morning, and it was still dark though. Three or four is not great. Yeah, I agree. For me, it's like I'm pretty much done with my day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, oh, worst winds will be overnight according to the weather site. Interesting. Now I'm gonna interrupt here and take a look real quick. Well, we get nothing but the windy symbol. Wind speed 6 to 22, gust to 33, and it's steadily increasing starting at about 12 o'clock today and doesn't taper off really until looks like about 3 o'clock tomorrow. 5 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, so that'll be unpleasant. Oh well, is what it is. We're just gonna, probably have to hunker down and stay inside most of the day again. In fact, I think when we hang up from here, I'm going to go outside for a few minutes just so I don't get depressed. Because I've noticed that's kind of the worst thing about being injured for me. I stayed inside completely for a couple of days last week, and I got pretty depressed. So I have seasonal affective disorder, and as a result, if I'm inside, if I'm not in sunlight for more than 24 hours like that, I get a little down without even realizing anymore that was true. I bought a house in New Jersey back in the 80s, and it was surrounded by really tall trees. I lived in it for like a week, and I was like crying every night. Well, not crying because I didn't cry then, but I was depressed. I was very unhappy. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and that was when I found out about being sad, having seasonal affective disorder. And I started cutting down trees. My neighbors got all upset, but I couldn't stand being in darkness like that. So kind of weird. And Mel says, especially since I didn't get out of bed until nearly 9:30 this morning. But it sucks when somebody out west does a live at 8 p.m. their time. Yeah, that would be pretty awful. I can't imagine doing it that late. And Lisa says, I used to live in Central Time. No, I used to live in Connecticut and almost never made it to late evening lives. Do I have a sad light? No. I didn't even realize that was a thing. Actually, I think I did realize it was a thing. I wonder if they make USB rechargeable ones. Now I'm going to have to go look. Well, thank you for that suggestion, Judy. So I think, did I talk about all the stuff I said I was going to talk about? Summer plans, what's next? Yeah. So what's next after this next big round of summer plans? I think is going to be slow travel for a while. And then I think after that, I'm giving serious consideration to maybe starting to work-ish. I don't want to camp host. I don't want to clean bathrooms. I don't want to do that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking about volunteering like for Oregon State Parks in the summer, or maybe one of the other state parks that does a lot of historical stuff, and become an interpretive docent leading tours for one of those kinds of things, because I think that would be a lot of fun. And same thing, you get a site and so forth. Wow, I don't remember that from Northern Exposure. Good call, Judy. I'll have to go do a little digging around for a sad light. I did have some issues with it when I was traveling in the East. It's funny, when I bought this RV and I traded in my other one, I was in Illinois, and so this was 2023 in July, and I was surprised at how little understanding of solar systems the Camping World dealership in Illinois had at all. And in fact, they could not figure out how to disconnect all the equipment from my solar system to give it back to me, which was the deal that we made. And then after spending some time in the East, then I realized, oh yeah, they don't understand solar systems because it's never sunny. Go figure. It was a little bit tough, but I got through it. Judy says, I had a public speaking teacher in high school who led tours at Hearst Castle in the summer. Oh, that would be cool too. Girl in the Go says, I get the whole sad thing. Last early summer, it rained for almost 2 weeks straight in upstate New York. Yeah, and that's depressing. There's no sunlight. It's dark all the time. It's awful. Amazon has some USB rechargeable full spectrum SAD lamps. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. And Lisa says, started streaming about 45 minutes ago. Yeah, thank you. I think we're about ready to wrap up. I don't feel like I need to go a whole hour. I want to thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'm thinking about making this like a monthly thing. And I'd love to know in the comments what you guys think about that. Is it something that you think is worth doing, or I should just stick to my regular videos? We could go either way. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Thank you for all the thumbs up. I really appreciate it, guys. And I have chosen to leave the live chat up. I think nobody said anything unusual. Kate says, sounds good. Awesome. Thank you. Hug Kit for me because I won't try. Yeah. Hope that ankle heals up real soon. Let us know in advance when you're going to go live, and I'll try and be here. Yeah, I'm thinking I might do like first Sunday of the month. Is kind of what I'm thinking. Monthly is perfect. Thank you, Lisa. Hope my appointment and X-ray goes well. Yeah, me too. And I'm glad I asked Lisa to take me because I thought even if I can drive, I'll have to park like a block and a half away from the doctor's office because I'm 28 feet long. So cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Have an amazing and fascinating day, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.